Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you. Today I want to talk about the knife community. And let me start off by saying that I absolutely enjoy sharing and hearing from and interacting with other guys who enjoy this hobby as much as I do, and some of them even more than I do. All right, that is a super cool experience, especially because of where I live. You know, in Canada, the knife community is not a large group. And so, you know, being able to reach out online and find other people of similar interest is a great joy to me and to many, many others as well. All right, so I want to say that to begin with. The second thing I want to say is you can I would invite everyone watching this to participate a little bit wherever you land in the knife community. If you've been here for years, or if you're brand new, or if you're, you know, just a collector and normally all you do is sit back and watch, or if you're a creator as well and you have a huge Instagram following or a huge YouTube channel, I'd love to hear your comments as well down below. I will ask this one thing, and that is if you have a negative story to tell, please leave the names out. Okay, if you've got a personal problem with some individual, then you need to handle that with them personally and not, you know, come here looking for, I don't know, some kind of validation or something. All right. So go ahead and tell your story. You know, I'm not dissuading you from that at all. Just please leave personal names out of it. So let's go ahead and get into the video and start by talking about some of the challenges. And I've kind of gone back and forth here. I've got good and bad happening with all of these sort of points that I want to make. I didn't want to make this a decidedly negative video, and I didn't want to make it a really positive video. Just an overall discussion about good things and bad things that take place in the community. So let's start off with the very first one, and this one is probably the single largest problem that we run across, and that is groupthink. Okay, it's really, really easy when you're among a group of people to give in to their peer pressure, either active or passive. And by active, I mean people actively telling you this is stupid, you shouldn't believe this, you shouldn't like this, or passive, where it's just, they don't mean to push you around and try to change your mind, they're just sharing what they like, okay? And so groupthink tends to be really, really easy to fall into, and it's worse the smaller the group or the more selective that group is, you know. So maybe it's on an internet forum and there's a particular subforum about this, that, or the other. Well, you know, that can be a place that, you know, has a hard time seeing past the end of its own nose, all right? So what I would say about that is, number one, try your best not to fall into groupthink. Maybe you've joined that page because you are, you know, maybe it's a zero tolerance fan page and you are the biggest zero tolerance fan who ever lived. Well, that's great. And I'm glad that you enjoy zero tolerance knives. But if someone has a bad zero tolerance, don't bite their head off, okay? Just relax. And if someone doesn't like zero tolerance or a particular model of theirs, that's okay. All right, you don't have to jump to the defense of your favorite brand all the time. And this is where you really, really see this. There are certain groups where you just know, you know, and it can be really tempting to troll these groups, by the way, but you know, if you go into a certain forum and say something negative about Chris Reeve knives, let's say, they are going to freak out and everyone's going to jump down your throat about how the Semenza 21 is the best knife that's ever been made, and they should have just stopped making knives after that because nothing has ever been close to as good as it, and everyone should just sell their whole collection, buy one Semenza and be done with it. You know, okay, thanks. I'm glad that's what you think. But you don't really, you know, and feel free to share it, but don't share it in a way that diminishes everyone else's opinion, okay? Because after all, that is just your opinion, all right? The other thing that I would say about that is if you're subject to that, don't worry about it. All right, all of us from time to time are going to say the wrong thing in the wrong place. And if everyone jumps down your throat about something, just slough it off. Like, think about this. These are just people commenting online. All right, they literally mean nothing. All right, so don't get too stressed about the negative comments. There will always be negativity in any community, and the internet tends to be worse because it's so you know, you're not confronting anyone face to face. You can just sit behind a keyboard and you feel like a big man. So keep that in mind. Don't try your best not to fall into groupthink. All right, it's not very helpful for anyone. Number two is kind of related, but not so much. This one is be aware of the hype. All right, look, it's fun to get excited about a new product. And, you know, I've got the Spyderco Shaman here, and this thing has not been released for very long, and it is a great knife. And when Spyderco does something good, they do something really, really good. And I'm super stoked that Spyderco did this. All right. But just because I think this is a great knife, number one, doesn't mean you have to. Just because I bought this knife and I think it's, you know, and I really enjoy it, doesn't mean you have to do that either. Okay. So don't buy the hype. All right. Here's another knife. This is the Olamic Tactical Swish. And again, this is a beautiful knife. It's very expensive. It's very well made. It is, you know, I absolutely enjoy owning and using this knife without question. But this is a knife that gets a lot of attention on forums and on Instagram and on Facebook pages. And you know, if you like it and you can afford it, great. But don't feel pressure to go out and buy something that you wouldn't already be interested in buying because everyone else seems to be doing it. All right. The other side of that coin is don't feel pressure to avoid something because that you would really like. Okay, I love this Hinderer. I absolutely adore this knife. It's one of my favorite knives in my collection. And yeah, it doesn't flip as well as, you know, a number of other knives, but I enjoy it. Okay, and because I enjoy it, I don't feel, and I don't feel, what I'm trying to say is I don't feel bad for enjoying it. I don't somehow feel guilty that I don't agree with the rest of the community. In fact, and I don't mind the action even on this knife. So don't, you know, don't let some naysayers, okay, give you a hard time about something. And here's another example. This is a knife that has been pretty well liked. Okay, this is the JB Stout Boker collaboration. I really, really like this knife, but maybe you look at it and you hate it. That's fine. And don't be afraid to say that you hate it, okay, because, you know, I or someone else said it's great. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and you're completely entitled to that opinion. You can, of course, find good deals by paying attention to the trends in the knife industry. You know, it was Black Friday, and probably some of you bought something because maybe you didn't know about it, but then you saw a knife that you really wanted and it was like 80% off, and you're like, wow, that's awesome. And so there's benefit to that hype sometimes, as long as you are able to measure it and keep it kind of under control. All right. And be careful about mods. Okay, a modification to your knife can be a huge benefit. But it can hurt the value. In fact, it almost, at the very least, you should never expect, if you pay $100 for a new clip for this knife, let's say, you know, we know this retails for $140, I think, maybe $130, and you spend $100 on a clip, you're not selling this knife for $230. It ain't happening. You may get an extra few dollars if you're lucky, but most likely you're just going to sell this knife for whatever the going rate for a used Manix is, okay? Most of the time that mod is not going to make you any extra money, all right? And it may not improve the knife, okay? Maybe the first guy who did it just really liked it and so he shared it. Maybe the pictures on Instagram look really cool, but that may or may not actually improve your knife. So be careful about hype. It's not always, you know, I guess the nature of hype itself is that it's overblown, okay? So don't buy the hype. Number 3, don't be naive. Number 3, don't be naive, okay? There are scammers out there. There are people who will take advantage of you if they're able to. And a community like the knife community, where we're all pretty trusting of one another, can be an easy way for someone to make you a target. All right. Even when you're friends, you still need to be diligent about your dealings. Okay, because maybe your friend doesn't know. You know, let's say I don't know what knife we can pick on here. You know, let's pick on this one. This is like a $70 knife. Okay, well, maybe your friend doesn't know that the going rate for this is $70, and they went somewhere and paid $150 for it, and now they want to sell it, and they're going, well, I paid $150 for it, so I'll sell it to you for $120. Meanwhile, it's only a $70 knife. Okay, and it's not that they're trying to rip you off. They just didn't know. They overpaid for it, and they don't realize they overpaid for it, and now they want to pass it off. Well, you know, it's okay to say to them, hey man, I don't want to burst your bubble here, but you've got like, you know, in a used condition, you know, you've got like a $55, $65 knife there. It's not going to get the $120 you want for it. Or I'm not willing to pay that, you know, and if you find some sucker who is that even fair? Okay, so don't be naive. All right, and I'll be honest with you guys, if I am dealing with you in a transaction of some kind and I'm thinking of buying your knife, the bottom line for me is going to be, I can't get stuck with this knife. I've got to be able to liquidate this at a price that I can afford, okay? So even if you're my best buddy, I'm not going to give you $200 for your Spyderco Shaman because I can't afford that, okay? At some point, I may need to sell that thing and I can't be out the extra $100 that I just paid, right? So, don't be naive. You still, like, business is still business, and there are scams out there, so be careful. Now, by the way, let me add a positive here. One of the things that is a great benefit of the knife community is that you can use that corporate knowledge to figure it out. Okay, or you can even use individual knowledge. So let's say you're buying, I bought an Olamic 24/7. Now this is obviously a Swish, but when I bought the knife, I copied the picture of the knife that was for sale, sent it to Eugene over at Olamic and said, hey, is this knife legit? Well, he quickly responded back to me saying, hey, it is a legit knife. In fact, I know the guy personally. You can feel very comfortable at doing business with him. Well, that's a huge benefit of the community. All right. And you can do that with not only with individual makers who often have an Instagram account, but you can do that with the general community as well. Hey guys, I'm looking to do a deal with this, you know, Joe Schmo who I've never heard of. Is he a good guy? Is he legit? Or should I be questioning this? And your friends, now make sure they're people you trust, they'll say, hey, yeah, definitely do business with them, or no, stay away. All right. And so the community can definitely be a huge benefit in helping you. And you can even say to the community, how much should I be paying? You know, I want to buy Kevin's Hinderer. You're not going to buy this because I'm not willing to sell it, but I want to buy Kevin's Hinderer. How much should I be paying for something with these features and you know, this steel and whatever else? And likely the community will tell you what's the story with that. All right. Have fun. Share cool stuff, okay? If you've modded your knife in an interesting way, if you just got something new, if you discovered something that's kind of a fun way to deploy a knife or whatever, go ahead and share that with us, right? We like to see that. By the way, when I say have fun and enjoy the content that you yourself and others create, I mean have fun. Okay, here's one of the things that I think can sometimes happen. You buy a knife like this and it's really nice. And you go, hey, this is a pretty good knife and I'm really enjoying using it and carrying it. But it only costs like, I don't know, what are these, $35, $40? I don't think I should share it on Instagram. My thought is, why not? If it's a cool knife and you enjoy it, I don't care how much it costs, go ahead and share it. And if you only like, I don't know, knives that are $1,000 and above, you know, don't crap on the guy who likes his CRKT, all right? Or on the other hand, if you've got this, you know, a knife like this, and you want to share it and it's pretty exciting, that's great for you. And when someone does, don't crap on them and say, oh, what a, you know, this $30 knife does more than your $300 knife or $600 knife or whatever dollar value you put on. And you do see that, you see both sides. You see snobbery because, you know, a knife has to cost X, Y, Z number of dollars to be any good. And you see snobbery the other way. You see people saying, you know, if you paid more than $70 for a knife, you're an idiot. Or if you paid more than 50 or 40 or 20 or whatever the number is, okay? So don't do that. You know, if some guy's got an awesome $10,000 Rexford, just say, cool knife, man. I love to see the pictures of it. You know, in the back of your mind, sure, maybe you're thinking, I would never buy that thing in a million years. But who cares? He wanted it. He bought it. Good for him, right? Let him enjoy it, and you enjoy it with him. Okay, don't think that, because a knife costs more or costs less, that somehow it can't be as cool and as fun as some other knife. All right. Decide who you like and respect. Okay, I follow lots of different YouTube channels. I follow lots of different Instagram accounts. I enjoy them all. However, I know which ones I would trust to inform my buying choices and which ones I wouldn't. Okay, sometimes it's because we have different taste in knives. All right. Sometimes it's because we have different morals, right? Maybe all they share is clone knives all the time. And I'm like, man, I would never buy that clone and I wish they would stop doing that. Fair enough. And so guess what? I'm not going to give that guy's word as much weight as somebody else. Maybe they like knives with blade stock that's way too thick and won't cut anything. All right. Well, if I know that about them, then I'm not going to trust them on that aspect of their recommendations. And maybe it's the other way. Maybe this is a person who has small hands and really likes small knives, and I know that I don't like that. Okay. And so learn who you like and who you enjoy the most. That doesn't mean you can't be friends with people. All right. I'm friends with Dr. Frunke, and we have pretty different taste in knives. Even Nick Shabazz, him and I, we have very different taste in knives. It's almost, if Nick really likes a knife, I probably won't like it, and vice versa. All right? But we have a great time kind of chatting and sharing with each other. It doesn't mean just because we like different stuff that we can't be friends, but we have to be informed, okay? So that I'm not buying stuff that someone recommends if their tastes are very different than my own, all right? And number 7, here's something that sometimes bothers me. I've seen people share a personal post, right? I'll give you an example from my own life that, it wasn't negative or positive, but I went on a hike with my kids and I had my Cold Steel 4MAX and I let my kids hold it and I took a couple pictures of them. Now, I'll be honest, I don't share a lot of content of my family. I don't share a lot of content about what I'm doing for work, and I don't share a lot of comment about, my beliefs, religious or political. However, I have no problem with doing that, and I would never make any kind of promise that I never would. In fact, sometimes if I'm reading a great book, I'll drop my knife on top of that book, take a picture and share it. Okay? And if you're going on, if you went to Niagara Falls and you throw some pictures of Niagara Falls up on your Instagram feed, I'm not going to stop following you because you had the audacity to share pictures that weren't of knives. Okay? Now each person's going to have to make up their own mind about what they're comfortable with and what they want to share and what they don't want to share. But what my general point is, okay, share what you like, share what excites you, because likely, even if, maybe you share your favorite dessert and it's not my favorite dessert, well, okay, so I scroll past that picture and I don't hit the like button, but it's still neat to kind of know that that's your favorite dessert. All right? So just have fun and find a healthy balance that works for you when it comes to how much you're going to share about your personal life and how much you're going to keep it just about the hobby. All right. So there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts about navigating the knife community. I would love to hear some of your stories down below because I'm sure there are some great stories about altruism and about help that's been given and, about great deals you've found and about knives you've been warned away from because you were able to learn about it before you bought it. So share all those stories down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.